Well, good morning. Welcome to Detroit in Black and White, our Saturday edition. Usually we here at McShane's, but we're not. We're going all virtual today. It is just me and Allan Lengel from Deadline Detroit. Jim and Vanessa has the Saturday off. You know, people do need some time sometimes. You can catch us on Wednesdays and Fridays from 8:30 to 9 o'clock. What are we on? It's Facebook Live, YouTube, and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
Lango?
Facebook, LinkedIn, X.
You know, we need you to push the like and subscribe button and enjoy the conversation. We'll read some of your comments and discuss. If it's a good topic, we'll discuss it. Okay? Well, let's take it to press.
All right.
Lango, your outrage of the week.
I kind of mentioned this a little bit yesterday, but I've watched some extensively, like Pete Hegseth or whatever. I've watched some of the hearings, and I mean, it's funny, just the sucking up is just amazing. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, what's clear is that there is nothing disqualifying any candidate. It doesn't matter what their background is, what they did, they're going to get approved. And so it kind of makes a little bit of a mockery of the.
It is a mockery. The clowns, it's a clown show. Now, let me ask you this question. If, say, Barack Obama when he got elected, he got Arsenio Hall off in CBS and made him whatever, a part of the cabinet.
Right.
What do you think the reaction would have been?
It would be like, this guy's not qualified. I mean, that's the problem is so many people. I mean, there are some, like Marco Rubio, whether you like him or not. I mean, the guy sitting on the foreign affairs committee and stuff like that. I mean, the guy has the background to be Secretary of State. He's been around, but you got this Pete Hegseth who has just a horrible record, and I don't know.
He's been accused of sexual assault. Right. Because he was in the military, that don't make him qualified to run the military. I was in the military, but I couldn't be
right.
Secretary of Defense. And the first thing that come out of his fucking mouth is, "Oh, I'm gonna change all the bases back to the original names." Fort Bragg, a terrible journal, even by Confederate standards. He was a white supremacist. He was a slave owner, and we had to listen. I've been to Fort Bragg, and going into these places, these installations that got the fucking names of traitors, of people that terrorized a whole communities of black people and others that they didn't like, and we got to deal with that. It's unbelievable. Hopefully, you got to go through Congress because you got a president that his thing is anybody of color in a position. He said, "Oh, that's a DEI hire." Colin Powell shouldn't have been a 4-star general because he wasn't qualified. She's a woman. She started all the fires in California. The fire chief out there. They fucking believable. They gotta blame somebody for their shortcomings.
Right. No, I agree. By the way, is there a TV on in your room there?
Is there a TV?
Or a radio?
No, I don't have a radio or TV.
Okay. All right. My imagination. But anyways, no, I agree. I mean, it's just, if Pete Hegseth had been nominated by Obama, it would have been annihilated. Instead, it's crazy. I actually have a little video here. Let me see if I can find it here let's see here. Oh, here it is.
Now that's over, it's time for the grilling. Republicans, I know he's your guy. But I also know you love the military, so I'm sure you've got some hard questions for the man who wants to run it.
Why do you want to do this job? What drives you? Tell me something about your wife that you love. How many push-ups can you do?
Follow-up question, sir. I have this jar. Could a big, strong man like yourself open it?
I mean, ridiculous. Yeah. That ridiculous. It's a clown show. Barnum and P.T. Barnum would love this if you can bring him back from a couple 100 years. Man, he'd say they're running the country. The clowns are running the country. Right. Yeah, right now they're going to be running the country. We'll see how long they last, man.
No,
it's ridiculous.
And then we have we have others coming up. Kash Patel, who's just, I think, dangerous in that situation. I mean, they talk about we want to depoliticize the FBI, and then they want to bring in a guy who's talked about an enemies list, going after prosecuting reporters, prosecuting people who investigated things. And you talk about just turning it. It's basically saying we want to depoliticize against the Republicans, but we want to go after Democrats who. So it's just insane. I think we'll see. I mean, the one thing, just to do a little segue here, is that we have a truce, I guess is probably the best way of putting it, in the Middle East right now between Israel and Gaza and Hamas. That the plan, the skeleton, or the truce had been laid out like in May by the Biden administration, and Netanyahu was playing Biden. He was figuring, when I can wait it out. If Trump wins, then I'm going to have carte blanche to do whatever I want. And interestingly, Trump was on the same page as Biden, and basically telling Netanyahu, "You take care of this. You're going to sign this now." And I even heard, I read something in the Israeli press where Trump had sent one of his guys to talk to Netanyahu, and it's a Sabbath. And so you're not supposed to really do business on the Sabbath and all that stuff, even though there's a war going on and people are dying, which is kind of hypocritical that you wouldn't try to resolve something like that. But Netanyahu told the guy, he said, "All right, when the Sabbath is over, I'll meet with you tonight." And the guy said, "No, bullshit. You're going to meet with me now." And so I hate to give some credit to Trump, but Trump doesn't get all the credit. I mean, the Biden administration have been working tirelessly.
Well, it's the same thing that happened when Jimmy Carter and his last days as president, right, where the Iranians wouldn't negotiate with Carter, and they were secretly dealing with Reagan people, and and Reagan can come out and say, on day one, it sounds just like Trump, I'm going to bring the hostages home. And boom, day one, here they come. Because they were playing, they got involved in the American political scene. And that's the way the game is.
Yeah, and there's an article in, I believe, the Jerusalem Post, where Hamas gives credit to Trump for pushing it over the line. And so, there's something to it. So, I mean, if there's things that Trump does, great. Let's hope. I mean, I don't have a lot of confidence that he's going to.
Well, he's going to send back some new recruits to the Palestinian cause, because when he start deporting folks out of Hamtramck and Dearborn Heights, the people that embraced him there because they pissed off at Biden, they're going to find out this guy is not their fucking friend.
Right.
He could care less. And that narrative of all these criminals coming over from the border and shit is bullshit. Right. We do need a tighter border. You just can't let everybody in. But the main criminals that's here are homegrown criminals that live down the street from you, me, and everybody else.
No question.
You know, immigrants that storm the fucking Capitol is American citizens, police officers, active military. That you know what? That's unreal.
Yeah, when I mean, it was interesting. When I was at the Detroit News, and I was covering federal law enforcement, all that. So I was tied in. You know, I was covering the FBI and the U.S. Attorney and Justice and all that. Up until excuse me, 95, the focus was on international terrorism. I mean, there was 93 where they tried to set off some bombs there in New York, in the parking structure there. And so then suddenly 95 came, and suddenly there was an awakening, like, holy shit, we've got all these. And I was up there in Decker, Michigan, like 2 days after when they raided the farmhouse, the Nichols farmhouse, where McVeigh was hanging out and where Terry and James were hanging out there. And, you know, suddenly it was eye-opening to see all these militias, and all these people were angry at the federal government. The federal government had given loans to farms and had foreclosed and taken away the farms. And there was a lot of anger. And so a lot of the focus suddenly became on domestic terrorism. Then switched to, you know, fast forward to 2001, when we had the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. And then suddenly it went back to international terrorism.
Well, we really didn't get all the people that was involved with Timothy McVeigh. He took the fall for whoever else was in that little cell of theirs. And I think it had to be some more military folks, veterans, that played the part in there.
Yeah,
I mean, not just Nichols. Not just Nichols.
Well, you know, Terry Nichols is serving a life sentence. McVeigh was executed. James Nichols was detained for a month without charges. They were able to, under some law, detain him for a month. They let him go. They were surveilling him. I mean, what I do know from working on that case was that the night before the bombing, there are phone records, which I actually saw, of Tim McVeigh, or of James Nichols, talking to his brother Terry the night before. I was at the Decker Tavern a few weeks after the bombing, and I was interviewing people in the tavern, and one person told me that they understood, and I ended up going on strike and I never followed up on it, but they understood that James Nichols in February, you know, the bombing was April, I think 19th of 95. In the previous February there, James Nichols, this guy told me James Nichols went down to visit in Oklahoma. So it's, you know, the feds always suspected he had a part, but he's never been, you know.
Well, the feds, now we getting a whole new crew of U.S. attorneys. And I, listen, man, someone said it's not a clown show, it's the Muppets, which I believe that it's worse than that. You got Keystone Cops going to be running the FBI, the CIA, and all whatever.
Sorry about that. That was Rick. Rick's going to be coming on shortly. Rick Wershe. Okay.
Well, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna take a break, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna have well, you calling Rick by his government name, but he's a legend here in Detroit. We're gonna go to Right Boy Rick when we come back.
In the heart of Detroit, Bruce Simpson. Our city ombudsman and his team are dedicated to making your voice heard. The City of Detroit Ombudsman is a liaison between the City of Detroit and all persons who have a complaint or inquiry into the operation of a city department or the conduct of a city employee. The Ombudsman works as an independent oversight to provide individuals with an opportunity of giving a confidential avenue to address complaints. You can reach the Ombudsman's office at 313-224-6000 or email us at ombudsmandetroitmi.gov. You can also visit us at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. For more information, go to www.detroitmi.gov and type in Ombudsman. We are here to help. In Detroit, we are all one team. When you win, we all win.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Yeah, well, welcome back. Right. Give it to you, Allan. Go ahead and introduce our guest.
We've got, he stepped away for a moment, but we've got Richard Wershe Jr. Also, a lot of people know him as White Boy Rick. He is in the cannabis business. He's a distributor. His name of his company is called The Eighth by White Boy Rick. Rick, welcome back.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
All right, man. You're supposed to be on the beach somewhere, man. At 80 degrees, man.
I'll be gone Wednesday.
All right.
Because
you're in Michigan right now, right?
Yes, look at this. I'll show you an amazing view.
Oh wow, nice.
Okay,
you,
but I prefer that view with about 80 degrees, Allan.
Right. I gotcha. So you've had your business for how long now? How long have you had The Eighth?
About 3 years.
Wow. And
three and a half.
And how do you get started in the cannabis business? How does that all begin? And
it was something that I read about. I had a lot of time on my hands, so I did a lot of reading about it. I had some friends that were involved in it. I saw the good that it could do, medically, even for children. And it was just something that, I became more and more passionate about. And the meaning of my brand. I don't know if people really know what the meaning of the Eighth is, but the Eighth is one of the ways that my attorney got me out of prison. The Eighth is your Eighth Amendment, which is the ban on cruel and unusual punishment, excessive bail, excessive fine. So we kind of use it as a teaching tool as well.
Okay. And you're a wholesaler, is that correct?
I'm a distributor. Yes. I have a brand that we distribute to most of the major retailers.
And when you say the retailers, is there a limit in states that you can distribute, or how does that work?
Right now I distribute all my products in Michigan and just my vape in California.
And what are the products? Tell us like all the different products.
I actually just added 5 new SKUs. So I have the premium cannabis flower. I have the vape. I have the live resin gummies. Yeah. I have an infused pre-roll. I just came out. Here's my new packaging. So this is my Moon Rocks package. And this is my Snowballs package.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And then
did you draw those photos?
I wish I could say that I did, but no, we have a designer that I work with and me and my partner work with, and we kind of go back and forth and we change some things that we like. But I have that, and then I have 2 concentrates. One is THCA and the other one is live resin sugar.
How potent is your brand, the THC content?
I don't put anything in my bag below 25%, but like for instance, the Snowballs, this would be like 25 to 28% cannabis covered by 99.9% pure THC. So this would get you there if you want to get there.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I was smoking marijuana some 40 years ago, it seemed like it was it wasn't the hardcore stuff that I smelled and be around. What's the biggest difference between the weed today and the weed when I was on the campus of Ann Arbor doing my thing?
Honest to God, I would have to say technology. If I was at one of the largest facilities in the state yesterday in Lansing. It's 200,000 square feet, all state of the art. It's called Mitten. And if you did a walkthrough through there, Allan, it would amaze you. you know, this facility was like incredible.
Okay, and let me ask you, Rick, you have, let's see, did your attorney have to jump through hoops? This is a question from one of the viewers. Did your attorney have to jump through hoops to allow you to be a distributor given your past conviction?
No, you actually get, so because I was you know, now they consider you a kind of a victim of the war on drugs. And you actually get incentivized for going to jail. For a lot of these big distributors and stuff have drug convictions, cannabis convictions, you know, cocaine convictions. So if you went to jail for drugs, it actually gave you, you know, some extra points.
Okay. And let me ask you, you know, you branded it White Boy Rick, and I know before some of the people, you weren't called that on the street. That name was given to you by what, law enforcement or the media?
Yeah, I mean, when I got in trouble, it was it was handed down by the media, you know, to sensationalize my case.
And I remember that. You know what? It made for the increased readership.
Yeah,
you know, they got this young white boy in a black neighborhood, you know, getting along with everybody. So, you know, they had to make you stand out.
Yeah, they listen. I think at this point everybody knows what happened to me and that they lied about the stature. I did sell drugs. I never denied that I sold drugs, but I wasn't a Pablo Escobar. You know what I mean? Like the drug labels that they put on us coming out of the inner city. You know, I think the government and the state misuses some labels, and to label, you know, one of my friends that's involved in Mitten, Kevin Hanner. He was 16 years old when he got a life sentence, and now Kevin has 1,500 employees. So, but to call a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old, as I was, a drug kingpin, there's no other way to say it. You were just an idiot. You shouldn't have been in the position that you were in. And, you know, I think I've talked to Allan before. I knew someone in Miami. Their case here was 7 tons of cocaine in 1988. Their indictment in Michigan. Nobody knows his name.
Huh. And let me ask you, there have been 2 movies. There's a documentary and there's a movie by Matthew McConaughey, which I didn't think was all that great.
Yeah, I've never watched it.
Okay. I didn't think it was all, it wasn't accurate, and it wasn't, I don't think it was.
No, it's very fake. Like, you know, they make it out like I did something to the Curry boys, and to this day, Boo Curry's one of my best friends. Yesterday we sat courtside, or the day before yesterday, me and Boo Curry were courtside at the Pistons game together.
Really? Is that right? Wow. Now I'm trying to remember. Boo Curry is which Curry brother?
He was the younger one, the one that I was very close to.
Okay.
But then you know, Rick, that when Hollywood gets a hold of a true story, they're not going to tell the true story.
No, absolutely not. And one of the reasons I don't watch the movie is because, you know, I worked so hard to make the movie as true as we could. Myself and Scott Silver, who wrote 8 Mile, and he wrote the new Joker movie, the first $1 billion rated R movie ever. He's the biggest writer in Hollywood as we speak. And we talk, you know, a few times a week. He's a dear friend, but they got Scott kicked off because they kept saying, change this, do this, do this. The director, you know, he took on his own persona of what he wanted this to be. And Scott said, hey, you know, me and Rick wrote this together, and he got Scott kicked off. So I checked out with Scott, and we remain good friends to this day.
Okay. Now, are you surprised by your like status, as your sort of celebrity status, where particularly here in Detroit, do you have that same celebrity status in Florida, or is it just here?
I think I have it a little better in Florida.
Oh, really? And why is that? Why do you think?
You know, honest to God, Allan, I wish I could explain, but you know, I appreciate the way I'm treated by everybody. I try and stay as humble as I can. I never tell anybody no for a picture. Sometimes some of my friends get mad when we're out because it might take so long. But listen, I appreciate the love that I get from everybody. I love the communities. I try and do good things in the communities. You know, I work with Team Wellness, the largest mental health company in Wayne County. We have a kids program. I work with them. We constantly give back to juveniles. You know, we on Super Bowl Sunday, through Happy's Pizza, you know, Happy helped me feed the whole youth home with Ice Wervezo and Danny Hirani. I was on a plane to Florida, but Happy's helped us feed the whole Wayne County youth home.
Oh, wow.
Hey, listen, what do you think of President Biden's pardon of 2,500 low-level drug offenders?
I commend them for it. Listen, the only thing we're in the process now of helping through Steve Fishman, who's a great man and a great attorney in Michigan. We just helped raise some money. There's a young man doing time 25 years for cannabis. I don't understand how anybody is still incarcerated for cannabis. It boggles my mind that you still have people incarcerated for something that the government takes my tax dollars from.
Let me
And
ask
that our state is going to do over $3 billion in sales this year.
Yeah. Let me ask you, there was this past week, there was a grower out in Pontiac who was robbed and killed. Is there a dangerous component to the cannabis industry, or is it just like any other?
I think there's a dangerous component to any industry you're in. If we're going to talk about that, let's talk about the jeweler that these scumbags just went and knocked on his door and tried to rob him, and they ended up killing him and posed as DTE workers.
Right.
Like there's a danger to anything, Allan, when people know that you have a commodity that's worth money.
Right.
Especially when you're dealing with large amount of money. One of our viewers wanted to know, since you was a convicted felon, how did you get a license?
Again, if you're a convicted felon in the drug world, they gave out a lot of licenses to people in Detroit that were convicted of crimes, and they call them social equity. And they gave them out, like New Jersey's very big on it. New York's very big on it. These states are trying to give these licenses. I don't have a license. I sell a brand. A license means that you have a grow facility, that you have a retail outlet. Can I get those? Yes. I just want to have my brand and continue to build it. But it's very easy to get a license if you're convicted of a drug crime.
And when do you think the feds is going to come around and just say, let's make marijuana legal everywhere? Because, you know, folks are using marijuana for medical reasons, all kind of reasons. Then they get to the airport, get on a plane, and here come the cops, pull them off the plane, or they got dogs sniffing on them saying you can't carry. It's just too many different laws and too many different states. You got all these states now passing, even southern states are passing liberal laws for possession of marijuana. When do you think they're going to get on board?
I think this administration that's coming in, I truly believe that they're going to legalize cannabis.
Yeah, and what you do a lot of stuff in the community. Tell us, besides the mental health thing, what are some of the things?
Listen, the things I do in the community, you know, I started doing the food giveaways before while I was incarcerated. You know, that you had the naysayers that say, oh, he's doing that to get out. That didn't get me out of prison. Right. We continue to work with kids. You know, this year I came back for Christmas and we went shopping for a group of kids, and we gave a 14-year-old kid a pair of sneakers and a hoodie, and this kid cried. He had never had a gift before in his life. Wow. So, you know, for me, doing stuff like that's what this is all about to me. And cannabis enables me to do so much of that. You know what I mean? Like right. Without cannabis and the people that support me, you know, the exclusive cannabis, exclusive helps me with every giveaway that I do. Jars helps me with every giveaway that I do. Puff helps me with every giveaway that I do. There's so many companies that help me. Forgive me for the ones that I'm not naming, but there's so many of these companies in our community that if you look, they give back so much, man.
Right. Yeah. Well, what about the, you know, I read some articles saying that, well, some communities are oversaturated with marijuana shops, and people complaining that own these shops, they're not making the kind of money they thought they was going to make. Do you see that? being a grower or a distributor?
I do believe Michigan's an overly saturated market, that they gave away too many licenses. And I believe that the new states that are coming on board, like New Jersey, for instance, I think they're looking at us and using us as a model and say, we're not going to be like Michigan. You know, you can buy some pounds of weed wholesale right now in the metric system for $400, $450. Last year, farm weed was $500 a pound. This year, you have people selling it for under $100 a pound. So,
oh man,
when I first started in this industry, I used to wholesale an eighth of weed for $30. Today, I wholesale that same eighth of weed for $10. So that pretty much explains the saturation of our industry.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break. Come back. You can ask your question, Allan.
Right. In the heart of Detroit, Bruce Simpson. Our city ombudsman and his team are dedicated to making your voice heard. The City of Detroit Ombudsman is a liaison between the City of Detroit and all persons who have a complaint or inquiry into the operation of a city department or the conduct of a city employee. The Ombudsman works as an independent oversight to provide individuals with an opportunity of giving a confidential avenue to address complaints. You can reach the Ombudsman's office at 313-224-6000 or email us at ombudsmandetroitmi.gov. You can also visit us at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. For more information, go to www.detroitmi.gov and type in Ombudsman. We are here to help. In Detroit, we are all one team. When you win, we all win.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Well, welcome back, Detroit in Black and White. Allan, you had the floor before the break.
In terms of, I don't know if you have a sense of this, Rick, but with all the marijuana, distributorships and shops and all that, has that put out the person who's selling marijuana still out in the street? Is there still do they still have a thriving business, or is that really?
Honest to God, I couldn't tell you that because I don't play in the streets. So
yeah. So
I can tell you it's still in the streets. It's just like the lottery really didn't put the number business out of business, but it's not the business it used to be. You still got folks that sell it here and there.
Yeah, I would imagine it'll never go away. Like you always have a little neighborhood thing, but it's not. The industry kind of took the black market away, man. I mean, you can walk in and buy an eighth of weed in a store for $15.
And how much in terms of inspections and stuff like that? How much is it regulated?
Oh, it's very, very thorough, very safe. Trust me.
How often do they come by and test your product? Or
you have to test your product before it ever, like the testing and listen. I don't want to say anything to piss anybody off, but honest to God, it's kind of like overly regulated. To be honest with you, that's my opinion. Like overly tested, overly regulated. Like there's things in our community that do far more harm than cannabis. So like legal things, and it's an industry that some people agree with, some don't. You know what I mean? I think it does far less damage in the community than having a liquor store on every corner, which I don't agree with. But
they put warnings on liquor bottles now. Do you think that's going to happen to the cannabis business? Because people still going
to warning labels, but there's labels all over the back of this thing, from the state, from everywhere. The regulations, the testing. There's all types of labels and everything. And I would love to give you guys a sample package. And you know, if you want to indulge from back in the Michigan days, you're more than welcome. But you know, I myself, I used to take an Ambien, and I don't think that Big Pharma. I'm a staunch advocate. Like I can't stand Big Pharma. I don't. Me and Jimmy Wahlberg, every chance I get, I call pharmaceutical companies drug cartels operating in America. They created a pandemic of drug addiction, and when the people can't get the pills anymore, they turn to, you know, the streets, and that's what's killing these poor people. But you know, I used to take Ambien. I got off track. I take a gummy now. It's cleaner. I sleep better, and I feel better. So I think cannabis, you know, helps your body a little bit. It does some things that people don't really realize that it does. The aches and pains it takes away. So every night before I go to bed, I don't take it, you know, during the day. But when I get ready to go to bed, I eat a gummy.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah,
how long does it take for you to get to sleep after you eat one?
Probably 15, 20 minutes. Pretty quick, Allan.
Nice.
Well, I ate a gummy and I couldn't go to sleep. And everybody said they eating gummies. I said, what gummy did I have?
I'm gonna have to bring you some of mine. You have to try the 8th by White Boy Rick. Those will put you to sleep.
Okay, and one of our viewers said he loved the name the 8th. Say it's a good brand.
I appreciate that more than he knows. Tell him I said thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well. All right. I think we're wrapping up. Rick, thanks so much. It's always
great. Guys, I don't know if you got to see it, but there's a movie out, Stealing Jokes, totally filmed in Detroit by my boy Mike Young. My first cameo in a big screen movie. Shout out to HaHa Davis and Mike Young for giving me that opportunity. I love you guys, and I hope the whole city of Detroit will come out and support. The movie was totally filmed in Detroit.
It's called The Joke?
Stealing Jokes.
Stealing Jokes.
Stealing Jokes by Mike Young. It's a Mike Young film. And Michael Rappaport, HaHa Davis. It's an amazing movie. They gave me the opportunity for my first big screen debut, and I just want to say thank you.
Where can we see it? Where can we
see it? You can see it on Amazon Prime, on Apple TV. It's a funny ass movie, not because I'm in it. HaHa Davis is just funny as hell. I support him. I love him. He's a Detroit homeboy, and I hope the whole city of Detroit will download it and watch it. It's a great movie.
Cool. Check it out.
Well, thanks, Rick.
All right.
We're gonna have you back, man.
And Allan, I'll get with you, and I'm gonna get you guys a little swag bag down there.
And are you the Lions? Are you watching the Lions tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Go Lions. You know my boy Jack Fox, Pro Bowl punter. I golf with him sometimes. So nice. I don't know if he'll tell you this, but I outdrive him on a few holes every now and then.
All right.
So
okay, Rick.
Go Lions.
Right. Yep. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks. Hey, somebody asked us, Lengel, do we exercise? Oh, I walk all the time.
I was walking, you know, between 1.5 miles, 3 miles a day until I currently am not. I'm doing physical therapy because I tore my quadricep tendon, but I had surgery 8 weeks ago, and I'm doing physical therapy. I just started on the outside next to the Piston Training Center at Henry Ford, so I'm doing exercise there now.
Yeah, you know, some people were upset that Right Boy Rick got into the business. He's a celebrity. Fuck, 40 years. Or you spend listen, 32 years was 8 years here and there. Yeah, spending 20 years or 5 years for some shit that they set up a 16-year-old with and made him like he was the man, the drug kingpin of Detroit, and who knows who was bringing the dope in.
Right.
And it wasn't a 16-year-old mastermind behind the operations.
Right. Rick was not. I think one of his biggest objections was, and partly made it more difficult for him to get paroled, was they painted him as a kingpin, and you know, the prosecutor's office said he destroyed Detroit and he was responsible, which is just, you know, look, he was part of the drug trade, but he was not at the top of the pyramid. You know.
No, he wasn't. And just like they took the YBIs, Young Boys Incorporated, and compared them to Al Capone, the Purple Gang, and all these other folks. You know what? People that profited from Young Boys, because they were young boys, were the jewelry stores, the auto dealerships.
Right.
You know, listen, we had a lot of crooked auto dealers who were selling cars to these folks. You know, they take $10,000 in cash or $9,999, and then the next month they come in and do the same shit. You know, so they got a car. You know, and those are the people that made all the money on the backs of young kids that was shooting and killing each other. Right. In the streets of Detroit. So no, I commend him for doing what he's doing, right. and he need to make a living, and this is what America is about.
Right. Well, we got our next guest is in the backstage here, Brianna.
Okay, Simpson. Let's bring her on. Well, hello there, young lady.
Hi, how are you?
All right. I'm glad that you can make it. And, you know, we just like to have fun on this show. And we just want you to tell us about what you've been doing in the community. You got a nonprofit. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about it.
The nonprofit is the Mothercraft Institute. So right now I am focused on training people in the community to become doulas, to go out and support pregnant or new parents with infants under 1.
Okay. Yeah.
What a doula does.
Yeah.
So a doula is a support person for mothers. So we provide physical, emotional, and informational support during pregnancy or postpartum.
Yeah, we do. Let me. I just want to ask, are you dealing with a lot of young teenage mothers?
I am not, just a handful. Most of the mothers that I work with are in their late 20s or mid-30s or to their mid-30s.
Okay, go ahead, Allan.
I was going to say, when you talk about providing physical support, what does that entail?
So let's say a mother is in labor, so I can like massage her hands, feet, legs, grab cold towels or hot towels. I can just help her labor comfortably.
Okay.
How you get into this?
I took a training years ago. And in order to get my certification, you have to provide so many hours of support to families. There's quizzes, homeworks, all kinds of things.
It don't seem like that years ago. You don't seem to be that old. Yeah, obviously you like it. How do people get in touch with you, or you advertise, or how can, if I wanted to utilize your service for somebody I know that needs it?
So they can go on our website, themothercraft.org, or they can call us or send a text at 313-420-8889.
Where are you located at?
So I am mobile. So we just travel to the families. Right now, I can be found at Heart of Christ Clinic in Southwest Detroit on Fridays.
And what is your background? Where'd you grow up, and where'd you go to school?
Okay, so I grew up in Detroit. I graduated high school from Oakland Early College in Farmington Hills. I graduated from Wayne State.
And what did you study at Wayne State?
Nutrition and food science.
Ah, nice. And are you involved with beyond in this program in terms of beyond pregnant women with nutrition in the community, or?
So with the nutrition, that is something that I can help like prepare meals for mothers, especially once baby is here. So just meal prepping for them during pregnancy, it can look like just meal planning with them to figure out, okay, you might have hypertension, so here's a diet kind of tailored to that. You might be dealing with gestational diabetes. So just kind of helping them to plan during pregnancy as well.
Huh.
Wouldn't this program be good for our high schools? Because we got a lot of these issues right there, right near us in these buildings. I don't think you're dealing with it.
I think it would be a great program for high school students, especially seniors. I think it is a way to make their college applications more competitive. And it also gives them practical experience, especially those that are going into nursing, medical schools, just working with the mother-baby dyad.
Well, you know, we come a long way. When I was in high school, we were in high school, Allan, that they, at one time, with a young girl got pregnant, they sent her to another school. They got her out of the school, and, you know, she was ostracized, etc. They was having babies all by themselves and stuff. And I think this is a program. You know, you say you mainly deal with folks in the 20s to the 30s, but I think teenagers, some of them, and we having girls that are young as 13 having kids.
That is true. Anybody, I feel like everyone deserves a doula or that support, regardless of like their socioeconomic background, race, religion, things of that nature. And age is, I can't say I've ever known any doula to not work with somebody just because of their age. So I think part of the issue might be people not knowing doulas exist and what we do and how we can help them.
I didn't know it. We're gonna have to have you back, really, because you know you got something that's a benefit for the community, and we need to get your message out there. You know, give us a number, website again, so those who want to get in contact with you.
So the website is themothercraft.org, and our phone number is 313-420-8889.
Okay, Deanna Simpson, we're going to have you back at a future date, and that number 313-420-8889. Thank you. And you have a good weekend.
You as well. Thank you both.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good program, Allan. I didn't know it existed.
Either do I. I mean, well, that's nice we're able to put out the word about it.
Ain't no question. We're going to take a break.
You're right. You're right about teenagers, you know.
Yeah.
In need of with that.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you. When I was a senior in high school, there was a girl at Oak Park where we went, and she kept. It's September. She had a coat on. It's hot outside. I start teasing her, saying, you know, take your coat off every day. She never took the coat off for 6 months. And I used to come to find out. She was pregnant, and she had a baby.
Wow!
I felt stupid. I said all she had to say was, you know, look. But you know, back then couldn't do that.
Right. Yeah. It's too bad. It's too bad.
And no question. Let's take a break and come back from Detroit in black and white. This is Saturday. I guess it's Lions time, and you know what I'm gonna say. Fuck the Lions. We'll be back after this message.
All right.
In the heart of Detroit, Bruce Simpson. Our city ombudsman and his team are dedicated to making your voice heard. The City of Detroit Ombudsman is a liaison between the City of Detroit and all persons who have a complaint or inquiry into the operation of a city department or the conduct of a city employee. The Ombudsman works as an independent oversight to provide individuals with an opportunity of giving a confidential avenue to address complaints. You can reach the Ombudsman's office at 313-224-6000 or email us at ombudsmandetroitmi.gov. You can also visit us at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. For more information, go to www.detroitmi.gov and type in Ombudsman. We are here to help. In Detroit, we are all one team. When you win, we all win.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in a home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Welcome back to Detroit in Black and White. This is Adolph Mongo, Allan, Lengel. You know, as this come to an end of the show, I was just thinking about in the next 6 months, we're going to be inundated with a lot of mayoral wannabes and candidates. I attended the announcement in the west side of Detroit of Santil Jenkins. And one thing I noticed about the crowd that she had, a lot of community folks, and on the other hand, had quite a few business people.
Oh yeah.
So I think she's going to be a force to reckon with. You got Reverend Solomon Kinlock from Triumph Church, who has well over 25,000 church members at several locations, contemplating getting in. Mary Sheffield's already announced. Your good friend Ty Perkins has, attorney Ty Perkins has announced. Councilman Fred Durhall has formed a exploratory committee, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's others that, you know, decide to jump into this fray. Your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty wide open right now. I mean, there's some interesting people coming into the race. I don't know that I see an obvious front runner. I wonder. I've heard this, and maybe you have better insight into it. I've heard people have tried talking Garland Gilchrist into jumping in the race, but he's not interested. That was
no. He want to run for governor, and I'm really pissed at the governor. You know, what is loyalty about? So he's not good enough for your endorsement, but Garland Gilchrist was good enough for you to put on the ticket twice. And you got no friends in this game. Talking about everybody my friend. Bullshit. Duggan wanted to run for governor when Whitman wanted to run. And he wasn't really her friend. He was her competitor. So she should have, somebody should have told her, say, Governor, if Garland Gilchrist is going to run, you say you're going to go with your lieutenant governor.
Right.
You can always change your mind. But to say what lieutenant governor won a governor's race and all this other stuff that she threw him under the bus. I guess they're trying to force him into running for mayor of Detroit. I think that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Your take on that?
I think he'd be a good mayor, but I agree. You can't. I mean, at some point, you just have to show loyalty. And when you have a candidate who's been your running mate for 6 years, who's been totally loyal to you, who's been waiting in the wings patiently, never tried to outshine you or whatever, and you just say, I can't do it because Jocelyn Benson's done a great job, Duggan's done a great job, and Garland Gilchrist has done a great job. And she was asked by Tim Skubic, she said it's tradition that the governor endorses their lieutenant governor. And she says, well, and those people have always lost, so maybe it's time to stop the tradition, which is a very just kind of smirky way of getting around that disloyalty really to your guy. You just have to say, I don't care what happens. You're my guy. You've been my running mate, and I'm backing you. And
listen, you can say that about Duggan. When was the last time the mayor of Detroit was elected governor? We got to go way back, So yeah, she was just. I thought it was just a slap in the face to a person who could have went rogue on her and say, you know what, I'm taking your spot, whether you endorse me or not. But and had his own agenda. His agenda was her agenda. He was a loyal lieutenant.
I agree totally. I think it's a bad look for her, and I think I think people in Michigan are going to remember that in 2028 when she wants to be president or vice president. I think people aren't going to forget that how political. I mean, it's clearly she's trying to figure out calculate what the best political move is, and she's decided that not endorsing her running mate is a good political calculus there. And I just think it's a bad look. I think the one thing where Kamala got lots of credit for being, and probably in the end, too loyal to Joe Biden.
Same way with Hubert Humphrey, who was too loyal to LBJ, who he really needed to break away from Vietnam, that Vietnam agenda, and he didn't. So, yeah, that's why the vice president, like any other useless position, the only most important thing of a vice president is to take over when the president is unable to, or die, or whatever unfortunate accident happens to that person.
I think we've seen different roles. I think Dick Cheney was really co-president. I think other vice presidents were really just sort of clearly.
Roosevelt had some rogue vice presidents, and they figure for his third term, well, we just gonna get somebody that's nondescript that we can ignore. And they got Harry Truman, who he fooled them big time.
Right,
fooled them big time. The only president I know in modern times that when he left the White House, he drove himself back home. He didn't have a pension, didn't get anything. So that we'll see in the upcoming months. Well, we come to an end. Enjoy the two-man show today.
I got my Lions t-shirt on.
Well, like I say, fuck the Lions, But a Lion win is good for the city. And maybe Wednesday or Friday we can talk about the auto show.
Yeah,
because the auto show got some serious issues. It should go back and it be in November or October, and not here in January. Your final thought, Allan?
I agree with that. I mean, I think the auto show is going to have to figure out what it is. Like we said in previous shows, some of the auto shows around the world have shut down. They're not as popular as they used to be. Some of the shows here, the show here, there's some of the major automakers who aren't even participating, like Mercedes-Benz. And I think the internet has made it easier to roll out new models without having to do it live. And so, hopefully, it's been a tradition here in Detroit, but they're going to have to rethink it. They can't keep just putting out the same old auto show.
Yeah, there's no question. I went to the charity preview, and there was a ripoff. They ripped me off.
Yeah, and you didn't get
but the chair, no food, no drinks. That was some cheap wine, no nothing. Coat check. Yeah, coat check was crazy. They was losing people expensive jackets and fur coats and all the other shit. So it was a madhouse. They got to do better. That was a black eye last Friday night at the auto show. Well, the Lions play tonight. I don't give a flying whatever about the Lions. That I got relatives in from DC. They like Detroit. And I was like, God, man, you supposed to be liking your Commanders. No, they like Detroit. Detroit won the hearts of a lot of folks around the country.
Well, I think it's the city itself, I think, is just a city of, to use the overused term, grit. But it's a resilient city. This city has gone through so much hard times, and really, not until, I mean, downtown really didn't start booming until about 2012, 2013, 2014.
Well, I'll tell you, and I'm going to end it on this. Detroit is a town too tough to die.
Yep.
And with that, we'll see you back on Wednesday. Thank all our viewers and folks that commented, our guests, White Boy Rick, Brianna Simpson, behind the scenes. You know, Teresa, we love you. And next Wednesday, hopefully we got Jim and Vanessa back with us. This is Detroit in Black and White. Have a good evening and enjoy the game, no matter what fan, Washington or Detroit.
Yeah. All right.